Welcome, Ultimate fans, to Ultiworld's live streaming coverage of the USA Ultimate 2019 Club National Championships, coming to you live from San Diego, California. Keith Rayner and Cody Mills here for a men's pool play game to start us off in round one. Raleigh Ring of Fire taking on Austin Doublewide in a matchup out of Pool D. Cody, these two teams have seen each other a couple times. Ring of Fire, a team with a lot of expectations, but Doublewide, a team we've seen be dangerous in the past.
Yeah, I think of all the meetings these two teams have had, this is by far the most meaningful, and not just because it's at Nationals. Both teams have spent the season building toward this moment. Doublewide in particular has been quite short-handed throughout the year, so we're seeing their final form just now, and Ring didn't even set their roster until August. So both teams have been very much works in progress, not just in the cliche sense, and this should be a meeting of what their season has been building toward this whole year.
Ring's had a fairly strong season. You saw the record, the 4 seed. They're 12-5 this year. But this is a very young team. I mean, this is not your dad's Ring of Fire. A lot of new faces, a lot of players who either are still in college or recently played College Ultimate. And you're going to see a lot of those guys involved. This is not the next generation of Ring. This is now.
Yeah, absolutely. The future is certainly now for Ring. Many of their key players, key contributors are 21, 22 years old, just out of college or still actively in college, and are already proving their mettle on the field. Many of them have represented the United States internationally more than once at this point and are more than up to the challenge of taking the mantle of a semis caliber elite club team.
Alan Laviolette getting ready to pull for Ring of Fire in the blues to Doublewide in the whites. And, last time I saw this Ring team, some of the personnel on this line was playing offense. I think you're going to continue to see this team tweak as we are underway with the first pull. Henry Ferruda gets the disc to Kaplan Moore. Matchup defense from Ring of Fire. As the Club National Championships get underway. Doublewide just on the open side. Crossfield hammer from Connor Olson to Abe Coffin. Resets back to Olson in the middle. Doublewide looking very calm. A pretty relaxed warm-up for them. And a relaxed offense as Moore takes that one in and there's a stoppage downfield. Already, Doublewide has advanced there, maybe 12 yards outside of the end zone, and an easy open side goal for Jay Frood to begin Nationals for Doublewide. A quick hold to make it 1-0.
So obviously not what you want at the end of the play there if you're if you're Ring of Fire getting scored on open side in the end zone set, but for the most part, I think that possession was what they wanted. Doublewide came out in side stack, isolation, and Ring was really helping out of the bottom of that side stack to shut down the isolation flow. Doublewide eventually hit the poached guy on the stack side, but Ring was able to stymie that flow after the first hammer look and reset the defensive challenge. So adequate pressure from Ring. I'm sure they'll want more in the future, but some subtle push and pull on that point that might not be obvious at first.
Meanwhile, if you're Doublewide, you're the low-seeded team. This is exactly how you want to start. A nice, comfortable, clean hold, working the disc from sideline to sideline. Nothing really too challenging there, and looked pretty confident.
Yeah, Doublewide just hit the open hands, didn't try and force anything. In general, I think Doublewide is a team, we mentioned this earlier, that hasn't quite come together for the season, so I think those chemistry looks are not their first choice, and they're generally going to try and stick to system throws when possible, or at least it's in their interest to stick to system throws when possible since they have so few reps as a coalesced unit.
Plenty of reps for many of these Ring of Fire players who played together in North Carolina area. Disc centered up for Noah Saul, one of the veterans on this O-line. Finds Eric Taylor. Lots of room for Dylan Lanier, and the Carleton connection comes up short. Taylor to Lanier, and his forehand overthrown. Gabe Hernandez walking the first break chance of this game to the front of the double wide end zone. Pair of open side throws now with the hands of Griffin Miller. Ring doing a nice job pressuring the reset, but double wide finds room for a crossfield backhand. Larberg up ahead. Dalton Smith gets the reset. Can imagine he will be quarterbacking this double wide D line. Hernandez flips it back for Marshall, and now Marshall towards the end zone, but it's hanging for a pair of ring defenders to get involved, but looks like a foul call. Ben Lewis stating his case for double wide. Looks uncontested, so he will gain possession of the disc just on the goal line for a chance at a double wide break. Smith on the reset. Right back the other way. Another front of the end zone open side goal for double wide. This one for a break. Griffin Miller takes a bow as double wide takes a 2-0 lead.
Double wide bailed out a little bit on the foul call there off of Kai Marshall's floating pass in the end zone. I was surprised to see them go away from the Dalton Smith, Gabe Hernandez, Handler battery in that short end of the field. Both of those players have very strong break throws and among the fastest first steps in the division, so it would be very hard to cover in those throw and go situations, but you saw Hernandez cycle out. They kept Smith in the backfield. And on the replay here, we see Ring's offensive possession, which was quite clean, classic Hostak initiation, good fill from Lindner under, just a little bit of miscommunication with Williams on the away shot, and double wide makes him pay for it.
It's interesting to me because the double wide offensive development, their systems are different, I think, from what a lot of the rest of the country has been running, and you're so used to seeing that kind of triangle style handler isolation offense in the red zone. And the North Carolina scene is one of the biggest proponents of that style of play. Double wide eschewing that for longer cross-field throws and putting up a shot for Lewis, get the pass interference and get the yardage gain out of it.
Yeah, I think Ring is also a fan of the cross-field throw, though. I imagine I saw them hit it in warm-ups a lot. So we may see that on the field today.
Add that to the scouting report, folks. So the pull for double wide. Ring still in search of their first score. Side stack, frees up Laviolette for an under. Laviolette with an away throw for Taylor, chasing after it and almost identical to the previous turnover for Ring. Taylor taking an injury, however. Taylor struggling to get to his feet right now. But looks like maybe he had the wind knocked out of him. So hopefully he will be okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's on the up and up. Unlucky break for Ring. That was a pretty clean initiation set. You actually see North Carolina Phoenix, the women's team, run this play a lot with Claire Rivera coming under and Ann Worth going deep in Eric Taylor's position as Ring makes a sub and goes to the classic Frisbee joke of subbing for the injured guy in injured position.
One of the oldest jokes in Ultimate from Tim McAllister. He'll be here all week, folks. Smith getting ready to bring it in for double wide. Don't look now, but Austin with a chance to go up 3-0 to start this one on number 4 seed Ring of Fire. Stoppage sends the disc back. And play restarts. Josh Jadrowski resets to Smith.
Clean switch downfield from Henry Fisher and Elijah Long there to break up an open huck.
And that switch helps slow down double wide enough to get a turn. Jadrowski unable to connect, and now Ring with a second chance. McAllister goes to ground for the under. Long, resetting to Lanier. Ring Fire's offense not in danger of hucking it away now as they approach the end zone, and a give and go there for Williams and Long. Jack Williams finds Elijah Long for Ring's first score, a hold that makes it 2-1, Doublewide.
Certainly a turbulent point for Ring, turning it over once again, but earning the turnover back with some smart defense and, well, Doublewide execution error, but taking away the looks that led to the execution error. Obviously not the cleanest start that Ring would have envisioned, but I'm excited to see what they have on the defensive side here. Their offensive looks have been clean. Here we see a great example of offense, the give and go from Elijah Long and Jack Williams, putting the defense in a no-win situation, guarding the around and the up line, and Long confidently runs it out for the goal. Jack Williams puts it on a platter for him.
Nicely executed by the Ring offense when they got their second chance. And it's interesting, you know, you mentioned the Ring offense is like they're doing the things they want to do. They've gotten confident looks to the end zone, but have not been able to connect, missed by a couple of inches on their previous 2 attempts. If you're Ring right now, you've given up a break, you give up the opening hold, but you're doing the things you want to do. Are you looking at any adjustments, or are you just saying, hey, let's stick to the game plan?
Definitely just sticking to the game plan so far. It's a little premature to adjust this early in the game in a vacuum anyway, and I think Ring is mostly generating what they want to generate, and Doublewide has been equal to the challenge. If Doublewide continues to execute on these things and Ring continues to falter on their execution, yeah, I think a game plan change could be in order, but for now, stick with it.
Ring defense getting ready to pull. And that's Joey Curtella with the full field backhand for Ferruda.
Joey Curtella now the oldest player on Ring at 31.
Once a young pup, now he's the old dog. More in the backfield. I mean, this is not a familiar pairing, I'd say, if you're used to this old Doublewide team. If you just read down the names on the roster, you might not think of more in the backfield. You'd think of someone like Gabe Coffin as he puts up like big backhand and doinked by Jay Frood in the end zone. One of the biggest playmakers on this Doublewide team with a mistake for their offense.
Yeah, Frood showing his humanity a little bit. I'm sure he'll remind us all of his superhuman talent later. Just a bad drop from him there.
So Ring gets their first break opportunity. Vertical stack look from Raleigh.
You have to love this Misha Freestadter Kyle Henke matchup downfield.
A turnover in the end zone, an attempt at a Callahan from Ferruda. At that point, the offense nearly on defense. Another short field for Doublewide. They've been very effective in the red zone in the early goings of this match.
Yeah, look for Abe Coffin to really take over here. A very agile player with strong break throws, but Doublewide says they don't need him, finding Kyle Henke on the away shot to clean up the point.
About as isolated of an ISO as you'll see. Just Henke standing about 8 feet from the thrower and told, get open. And more than up to the task as Doublewide takes a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, a little unconventional. Most teams won't run their ISO to the end zone person there because the ISO is taking up the up line space for the handler to cut into. But if you're that confident with your away and inside throws, putting him on the block will work. Take a look at the turnover here and around backhand from Younks that just gets away from him. Ferruda almost secures that Callahan. And there you see Kaplan Moore just put it out to space. Kyle Henke runs onto it to clean up the hold.
So Doublewide with their first offensive mistake, but do not pay for it as they're able to generate some pressure. Nice job by the defense. So Ring's offense back on the field. Gabe Hernandez gets a little floss in, the Live Ultimate ambassador, known for some antics on the field, having a good time. And his pull looks like it'll drop in just by the line, out of bounds, unfortunately for him.
Almost gets it back in the double helix, but Elijah Long will take it to the brick for Ring.
Pretty still conditions here in San Diego right now. May pick up as the temperature increases, but the sun's shining. Fisher underneath. Fisher and Marshall. It's a lot of big athleticism in that matchup as Laviolette gets up the line for the dish and a travel called. Laviolette checks it in, and his reset forces Williams to slide into it. And these short horizontal looks from Ring have been available. Long underneath. Tight window throw from Long, and now he and Liam Searles-Bowes looking to go to work. But Laviolette drops the easy dish at the front cone. Smith picks up and immediately rifles a backhand the other way. But unsuccessful attempt from Mason Wunsch trying to go up over the top of the defender. Cannot secure the catch. Fisher takes off deep. Searles-Bowes catches under pressure from Smith. Mark slips, Williams puts it up with two wide open receivers. Lanier takes it in and drops it off for Fisher, but it looks like there's a call back on the throw from Williams.
I believe the call is travel. Williams' mark did slip, so probably had a good view of his feet.
And not the first player to slip on the Dewey Fields.
Okay, want me to rule on something? Sure. Okay, so the ruling is a travel. They've ruled that a foul can cause a travel. So it's going to come in saying stalling one. Okay, so there's a foul.
I can't throw in the motion of...
And he travels as he's, you get...
I got hit, and so I'm throwing.
Right, I understand, but you're traveling while you're throwing.
Okay.
Yeah, he traveled, and then you let go.
It's
So
like a contact?
that's the travel. Travel.
And I'm not contesting the foul.
Yeah, correct. Coming on one.
Observer noting that a foul can cause a travel. So the travel will stand despite what seemed to be a foul. Raleigh has to try and score again. Working that backhand sideline up to Searles-Bowes. Now we see that Raleigh triangle style attack. Stoppage downfield. Injury call from Dalton Smith as he heads off. He's replaced by Andrew Walsh.
Hey, you hate to see Smith take a sub here. He struggled with hamstring injuries last year at Nationals. You have to wonder if it's still a chronic problem.
And it's going to be a long, warm day for both of these sides. And they're 4 points in on their fifth now. Williams with a casual backhand flip to the break side. Nearly catches his teammate off guard, but Saul tracks it down and then finds Laviolette, who gets the redemption score for Ring of Fire, makes it 3-2.
Yeah, still not the clean game these teams are capable of, but perhaps to be expected. First game of Nationals, conscious that your opponent is extremely talented and going to challenge you. Maybe a little bit of nerves for both teams in the early going, and just some bad luck in that upper right corner where we've had two stone-cold drops.
Laviolette with one of those, but the favor returned by Doublewide. That enabled the score for Raleigh. Laviolette has been put in a fairly sizable role for this Ring of Fire team. We've already seen him play both ways in this game. Player originally from the Pacific Northwest, played at Western Washington before traveling down to Atlanta. Spent some time with Chain Lightning before defecting to nearby Raleigh. So a well-traveled player, Laviolette.
I believe also a stop on truck at some point. But yeah, he came to Ring as a new player and immediately earned a spot in the O-line. I remember talking to Coach Mike DeNardis and David Allison about it, and they were singing Laviolette's praises for how easy he was to integrate into the system, and clearly he's only gone up from there.
Pull goes up and now centered with Moorer. Looks like more of a junk set now from Ring. Our first look at a different style of defense from either side.
Yeah, you can see a mark and the handler guards really helping out in the passing lanes, a wall of 3, and then a deep.
Yeah, looks like a 3-3-1 junk set.
It's a little more in the style of the UNC zone, where it's a trap cup on the sideline, but a diamond in the middle with pressure on the first reset.
Hankey muscles a hammer across to Frood. Again, pretty still conditions here. And quick flip to finish it off. Roy Orloff, one of the veterans on this double wide team, with the little dump for Coffin for the goal. So the change in pace, not phasing the double wide offense as they're up 4-2.
Strong work from double wide thus far in every facet. Ring has applied varying degrees of help defense. That obviously was a clear junk set, but on earlier points they were helping on the side stack or helping off certain players. And double wide is very efficiently hitting the post player and fast breaking from there. On the first point of the game, Ring was able to reset the pressure, but for double wide's last 2 offensive holds, they've hit the post guy and immediately fast broke. The point before this, it was the drop in the end zone, but that was the look that you wanted. It was a wide open huck. And again, in the junk set, they hit the hammer and without hesitation continue that flow downfield without putting up a sketchy pass.
When double wide's been able to switch the field, and they've used the hammer to do that a couple times, I'm pretty sure they've scored on every possession in which they've thrown a hammer. Helps to complete it, but they're getting it across the field, and that's really putting pressure on this Ring defense to defend the full 40.
Yeah, and that might seem in contrast to the idea earlier about system throws, but the hammers are pretty wide open, and at that point, it's the obvious throw to take since Ring is helping off of people. So double wide still keeping their discipline despite the unfortunate narrative around hammers.
Low pull from double wide. And it looks like monkey see, monkey do as double wide comes down to junk look of their own. Quickly past Matt midfield for Ring. Saul with a wide open option for Searles Bowes as double wide transitions to match up. Long with another backhand to the forehand side that sets up another Laviolette goal. He scores for the second straight Ring hold, 4-3.
Yeah, once Ring gets in the short field, they're attacking very effectively from that give and go set. Be interesting to see double wide help out of the back of the stack more. Ring's cutters are obviously content to keep their defenders out of the play as a 4-person stack away from that isolation set, but an adjustment we might see double wide make is to help off that stack out of the 2 or the 3 to challenge those long up line passes.
I think you've seen a lot of this kind of look from Ring. Double wide's doing a great job cutting off the break side after those resets, but Ring has well-timed this cut back to the open side after those reset cuts, so they're able to get rid of the disc quickly. Long operating as a fulcrum in the offense right now in that kind of role. Feels like whenever they've got those big wide resets, there's been a quick throw right afterwards.
Definitely changing the point of attack, as you mentioned, to leverage the defense, knowing that they'll over pursue for one and hitting that counter look immediately.
Ring's defense still looking to get their first goal. They've gotten one chance right now. Able to generate one turnover on that Frood drop. Sfruda takes the centering throw for Austin. Nearly uncontested catch for Carson Wilder. Fruda up line. No options downfield, so we'll take the reset. Double wide stack, recollecting after getting a bit loose. Frood with the same third huck that drops right into the pocket for Wilder. Nicely executed from Frood. And Doublewide continues a torrid offensive pace. They're up 5-3.
Yeah, absolutely not a trivial throw by any means from Jay Frood there, but not too outrageous, and he executes it perfectly. OI edge, puts it out into space on his receiver. That OI edge lets the receiver read it better because he can look to the side rather than seeing it over his head, and runs onto it for the easy goal.
Yeah, if you're gonna throw in the same third, you should put the disc out of that third.
Exactly.
Nicely executed by Frood. I think you continue to see Doublewide is taking advantage of these calm conditions. I think they're building in confidence as throwers, willing to take on more and more difficult looks, recognizing, hey, we can execute those in this situation, and that's going to make it really hard on this defense to get a lot of traction. Defense back out. I don't believe we've seen Dalton Smith return to the field since taking that injury. Keep an eye out on that. As be a big piece of personnel information regarding Doublewide. Moore crossing over for this defensive point as Hernandez gets ready to pull.
Yeah, Kaplan Moore, a former Ultiworld Defensive Player of the Year in 2017, now playing a little bit of O for Doublewide, but back to his roots on the D-line here.
They'll get the Noah Saul matchup. Williams underneath. Pressured by Matt Armour. Push pass from Williams, batted away by an enterprising Ben Lewis with the poach block. Doublewide working on a break opportunity with a short field, and Moore, is he an O-line guy? Is it a D-line guy? Who knows? He's taking a timeout, getting ready to set up Doublewide with a chance for a break. Moore stepping into a big leadership role for this Doublewide team as he takes that timeout. This timeout is presented by Disc Store. DiscStore.com sells more than discs. For live viewers only, get your next custom team reversibles, including a one-color print for only $15 each with the promo code Ultiworld19. Email jerseys at DiscStore.com to receive that exclusive offer. That is promo code Ultiworld19 to get those one-color prints, $15 each. So big chance for Doublewide. Push the lead out to 6-3 with a conversion out of this timeout. I mean, this is basically the ideal distance. This is your practice distance when you're running your red zone sets.
I was thinking the exact same thing when he called the timeout, Keith. Great call. This is probably half of your practice reps, static set, out of a timeout. Everyone gets to see everybody.
Play begins. Williams patrolling that break side for Ring right now. It's really stagnant look for Doublewide, and now Hernandez fires a forehand across the field. And Hernandez with the front door score for Moore. Austin 6-3 lead with their second break of the game. Ring of Fire, they're in a hole now.
Yeah, you can see Moore just muscle his way open for that short up line. There's an interesting contrast between the short field offense of Doublewide and that of Ring. Doublewide is more static, like you mentioned, Keith. After they get those blow-by passes, they'll look upfield for 1 or 2 counts, whereas Ring, if that first break isn't there, almost immediately dishes and goes. So one is more about motion, and one is more about trusting your athletes to get open, as Moore delivers on his promise right there and beats Elijah Long to the cone. But hey, it's working. Doublewide's up 2 breaks.
An early lead for 9-seed Austin Doublewide. They had a rough regular season where The personnel was in constant shifting, not able to practice together all the time, having to get all that done in pods.
It's a recurring or a perennial theme for Doublewide, though. Because they're so spread out in Texas, an enormous state, despite being one single state, Doublewide doesn't have regular practice weekends. They often do mini camps where people will fly in and they can support travel players better that way as well. So they'll have 2-day camps where they have much longer practice as opposed to recurring weekend practices or even weekday practices as some teams do. So they're used to it. Doesn't make it any easier.
Forces them to try and coalesce at the end of the year, and right now they're looking like they got it together. Ring trying to respond. Williams streaks up the open side, and now Cutters are deep as they open up an isolation set for Williams, Matt Gushohannes, and Saul Yannick.
Yeah, Ring bringing over their D-line handlers, Gushohannes and Yannick, and letting them run Dominator with Williams.
And that has gained nearly the whole field for this Ring offense. Cutters content to watch. Drop back for Williams. And Yannick into the end zone for who else but Alan Laviolette.
Yeah, Laviolette played a tricky role. Obviously, it's a Dominator, and it's Williams, Yannick, and Gushohannes going back and forth, but being able to time your open side cut to punish it right when your defender checks out and score at the open side cone is a nuanced skill within a Dominator set.
Yeah, your Cutters may not be the primary target on this, but a lot of times in those Dominator sets, you can get a handler in great power position, or a situation like this, defender maybe thinks about poaching, maybe they're watching the backfield a little too much. Laviolette with the well-timed attack at the front cone. Third goal of the game for Alan Laviolette, but what Ring needs now is breaks to get back into this one.
Very impressive Dominator set from Gushohannes and Yannick and Williams there. Lots of soft touch break throws to space. 3 very competent throwers who are also very agile. That's going to be a tough thing for Doublewide to stop as long as those 3 can maintain fitness. So good for Ring to know they have that in the bag, and definitely something for Doublewide to consider as they plan their next defensive move.
It was interesting to see Doublewide had Josh Zudrodowski, often known as Crow, who's, well, I don't know how tall, 6'8", guarding one of those agile handlers. I don't think Doublewide expected that kind of look out of Ring at this point.
Definitely not.
Early open side throw to Wilder. Puts him on that sideline. Now Fruit underneath. Ring doing some switching downfield to cut off these deep streaks from Doublewide. Coffin with the reset near the middle of the field. Olsen. Hankey up to Wilder. It's been all open side. Just a series of 10-yard forehands up to that sideline from Doublewide. And that trend continues as Fruit collects one. Gets off the sideline to Olsen. And Olsen with a little around backhand for Fruit for the goal. So Doublewide still rolling as they push out the lead back to 3, up 7-4, just 1 goal away from taking half on Raleigh Ring of Fire.
Yeah. That was an interesting line for Doublewide and highlighted. Well, we'll take a look at the replay here. Just easy swing motion to find Fruit on the break side, but lots of the younger players on Doublewide that they've incorporated into their team in the last couple of years, players who are often one of the best players on their team in Texas, but it might not be a program that's perennially at college nationals. Like Kyle Henke is one of those guys from Texas Tech, and Abe Coffin, I believe Arkansas when he was playing. Carson Wilder, another one of those guys from Texas Tech. He and Kyle Henke are very big players there, and Connor Olson from, I believe, Oklahoma State. So big names if you've been around youth ultimate or the club scene, but when they go back to college, are plying their trade in relative anonymity. So it's nice to see them show their skills on the national stage here.
It's funny. It's funny. Like in ultimate parlance, those are like small schools, but Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, got a big student body there to pick from.
Yeah, definitely not one of those D1 powerhouses like Carleton.
Right. So, Ring with their first half backs against the wall at least. Saul dutifully gets that centering throw. Ring's done a really good, or Doublewide rather, has done a really good job, I feel like, of keeping Henry Fisher quiet. He's had a great regular season for Ring of Fire. But the big Carleton cutter has been forced to just accept unders for most of this game.
Yeah, they're able to match up on him with Kai Marshall, who's one of the few people as big and fast as Fisher.
Instead, it's the handler, Noah Saul, taking off, and now he's going to jump ball against Dalton Smith, and Saul goes up, comes down with it. And some words exchanged between Saul and Lewis after the play. Lewis didn't like the spike from Saul, but Ring likes the goal for their veteran handler.
Yeah, a little bit hard to diagnose what's going on there. Saul came up with like a solid sky and vaguely threw it in the direction of Smith, but I don't really think there was any malice in it.
I could see why Lewis may have taken issue, because it did seem like accompanying the spike was a little bit of a stare.
That's fair.
But I think he mostly just let this one go. Nice play by Saul. I mean, he had position the whole way, so all he had to do is make sure he had good timing. An athlete like Smith's going to make sure that you go up for that strong.
Yeah. But well done by Saul to clean it up. I see the stare that you're referring to, but not much in it. People just a little excited right now.
Yeah, I mean, these are two teams who've been known to get energetic on the field, if we could say nicely. But Ring with a much-needed hold, get their defense back out there. And again, we're seeing a little bit of crossover. Laviolette again sliding over to the D-line. I mean, they have been happy to put him over on anywhere they can get him in, really. Yannick split a little bit both ways, and obviously Jack Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Laviolette's been delivering. He's been featured in goals, opening up the offense with throws and cuts.
Tello with the pull. Some competition between double-wide handlers to see who'll field it. Ends up with Henry Ferruta.
Both teams big fans of that 3-2 pull play set. I guess that's the first time Doublewide's run it, but
really flat marks right now from Ring. Maybe trying to push this disc wide, see if they can get Doublewide to throw a lot of throws rather than to get any big gainers up the middle. But Doublewide's been really good at attacking this sideline as Ring continues to do a lot of switching downfield as well. Blade from Coffin over to Henke. Moore able to find Coffin on the reset. McAllister in coverage on Coffin. Coffin, a name that's risen in prominence this year as there's a call downfield. Coffin, the handler who came up with Prairie Fire out of Kansas City and transitioned over to Doublewide, and guy who's a big difference maker with his throws.
But it's not +1.
Okay, yeah, so.
It's just not a foul.
Yeah, not a foul. There's no call. There's no call.
Okay. Saying 3.
Saying 3.
3, 2, 1.
Clarification from observers. Get that stall count right as play reinitiates with a Carson Wilder under, and then I believe a pick downfield. You can see the clump of players. It's usually where you can find the picks. And Henke dances open right out of the stoppage. Tough spot to be in if you're Austin Von Alton. Doesn't stop Doublewide from taking half with an 8-5 lead. Henke on the receiving end of the final goal of that first half.
the stoppage definitely working a little bit in Doublewide's favor there. Henke does a good job to engage Von Alton and put him on his heels and then take off deep. Out of the stack situation where the thrower has plenty of time to diagnose the space, that's going to work a lot. So good recognition by Hankey to exploit the situation.
Hankey with a nice first half as part of a strong effort from Austin Doublewide. They're carrying an 8-5 lead as we get ready to head into the break. Are you surprised by this result? I mean, this is the number 9 seed with a healthy lead on the 4 seed after a tumultuous season for Doublewide. I mean, did you see this kind of performance in them coming into this tournament, Cody?
Doublewide does this all the time, where they have middling regular seasons and come together at nationals quicker than we expect. So perhaps 5 years ago I would have been surprised, but by now I view it as Doublewide's MO.
And perhaps we shouldn't really focus on Doublewide. It was a bit of a lackluster effort for this Ring of Fire team for the first half. They still seem a little sleepy, a couple of execution errors, but really the defense has not been able to slow down this Doublewide offense. And I would say this Ring of Fire team's a team that's known for their ability to play strong defense.
Yeah, I think Ring's offense has been very clean, but as you mentioned, they have struggled to take the disc away from Doublewide, and even on the turnovers that their offense has been giving up, which aren't necessarily forced, they've struggled to pressure the Doublewide D-line offense. So, as you said, Keith, it really does come down to Ring's ability to apply pressure because Doublewide is not giving up anything cheap.
Doublewide's offense looking smooth, and they've put all the pressure on the high seed Ring of Fire. We'll take a break for the end of the first half.
We come in all different shapes and sizes, but our uniforms don't. Equipped with multiple jersey cuts, lengths, and sizes, Full Circle is the perfect fit for your whole team. Look better, feel better, play better. Full Circle.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go, take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Feels like 100 years. My dreaming isn't gonna last. I could be better still than anything I've done. Oh, I know you think you could do too. Oh, I know you think you feel it's true. It's a little
Jay Frood, what an incredible layout catch.
on Freechild. Intrude comes down with it. And Nickel goes up.
Sharper rocketing a backhand, looking for Monroe. Monroe chasing after it.
And that's a Callahan.
Cochran's throw deflected again by Higgins.
Dillon with a huge layout grab.
Marcelo Sanchez flies through the air and an incredible catch.
Looking for John Randolph in the end zone, and Randolph gets up and makes the grab.
Welcome back, Ultimate fans, for Ultiworld's live streaming coverage. Coming to you live from San Diego, California. Beautiful beaches out here. Some players getting here early, some maybe staying after. Enjoy a lovely setting here in San Diego.
Lots of players enjoying Mission Beach, down where the Ultiworld HQ for the weekend is as well.
Absolutely, but Ring of Fire not enjoying that first half. Doublewide having all the fun as they are up 8-5. Chance to try and get the upset here for Doublewide to start the tournament. Number 9 seed from Austin, able to get the lead over this Raleigh team, the top seeded team in Pool D in the men's division.
Definitely going to be a crucial way to start off pool play for whoever comes out on top in this game. Tough Pool D, the 4-5 turn with Revolver, Ring of Fire, and Doublewide, and Rhino, who can hold their own, can certainly hold their own in the pool, but a win to start off your weekend definitely puts you in position for a favorable path through the bracket. So both teams will be hot in pursuit of that as we start the second half.
Ring of Fire not looking too distressed on the field as the O-line gets ready to go back out, having given up a couple breaks in that first half to Doublewide.
And rightfully so. Keith and I chatted about this briefly offline, but Ring's offense has looked pretty clean from X's and O's perspective, just a few unlucky turnovers here and there. So rightfully relaxed, but could use a little more fire on the defensive side of things.
I think their other execution errors have come because they maybe look like they're pressing a little bit after making a few mistakes. Fisher coming underneath. We'll see if the offense can fire things up. for the second half for Raleigh. As Dylan Lanier comes underneath, considers that big forehand huck he likes, but a call. I think perhaps a travel. Lanier up ahead to his college teammate Henry Fisher. Saul underneath. Nice job so far by Doublewide on defense, taking away the first look, but Ring's been able to get to that secondary cut very effectively. Charles Bowes, the young UNC star, able to lift that around. Now Williams on the opposite sideline. Roll coverage from Ring exposed by an inside forehand from Jack Williams. That sets up Laviolette for the assist to Saul. I believe that's 2 straight goals for Noah Saul for Ring of Fire. They start the second half as the best way they can with a hold, make it 8-6.
Yeah, you could see Doublewide try and make the adjustment there for the short field, rolling and switching onto Elijah Long as he goes up line, but that leaves the IO window open for a brief second, and Jack Williams exploits it to start the break side flow.
And get a recap of what we saw in the first half. Doublewide with that 8-5 lead and doing a great job offensively, able to get a much higher rate of holds compared to this Raleigh Fire opposition.
Ring of Fire only able to force 1 turnover from the Doublewide O-line, and they gave it back after 2 passes. So very little on the defensive offense side of things for Ring, whereas Doublewide has had 5 cracks at Ring of Fire. Obviously, we mentioned that 4 of those turnovers were essentially systematic looks that just didn't get executed, but nonetheless, Ring's O has been on the ropes a little bit comparatively.
I mean, yeah, there's the less charitable way to look at this. I mean, Ring's offense has been, from a process standpoint, doing the right things, but just 2 out of the 5 break chances were converted for Doublewide. I mean, imagine if their D-line was hitting at a higher clip. This could be a really bad situation for Ring. And now they're going to need a defense that was unable to really get in the way of this Doublewide offense. Their lone turn was just a stone-cold drop. So they're going to need that defense to suddenly turn it on in this second half if Ring wants to come back and avoid being put in a tough position in Pool D.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we'll see a little more of Jack Williams or Elijah Long coming over to the defensive side for Ring.
And an ambitious look, and you can see why they took it. Jay Frew to the back of the end zone and goes up over the big man, Misha Freistadter.
That's what Jay Frew does. Jay Frew roofs people. And obviously that one's particularly incredible because Misha Freistadter is a big man who's good in the air, standing 6'7", compared to Jay Frew at 6'2". But Frew does a good job, goes up big with his left hand. Take another look here. Hanky fades, that back shoulder flick. Freistadter slips a little bit, and Frew just comes in with the left hand, uses the width of his body to get that last second closing burst and pull it down. Freistadter looks like he comes up a little injured there, but also missed a good opportunity to body Freud out. Freistadter had pretty favorable position, but went to go catch the disc instead of taking away his opponent's path, and it cost him there.
I think Misha Freistadter, the thought that huck was going to go up had not entered his mind. He looked completely unprepared for that shot to go up, and I think that's why you see him slipping. He was a little bit flat-footed. He was in what usually is pretty good position. When you're Misha Freistadter, you don't expect a lot of people to throw jump balls past you, but Freud comfortably waiting in the back of the end zone to go up for the big sky.
Certainly, and I think of the throws to Freud in that situation, Freistadter was likely anticipating the hammer because of the edge, as opposed to the OI that comes over his head. The hammer would break left to right and take him out of the play, so perhaps a little wrong-footed by that look as well.
But Jack Williams with a creative fielding of the pull off the bounce with one hand.
A little bit of junk from Doublewide here.
Faring better than the Astros, it looks like.
Or maybe just they might have just mismatched.
So Taylor with room the back of the end zone to collect that OI forehand for a quick Ring score. And that's a nice way to regain some of the momentum after the big play from Doublewide. Definitely don't want to get this athletic Doublewide team fired up and rolling.
Yeah, the thing I was talking about earlier was Zadrowski, who was earlier on the handlers, but then there was a transition state, and they threw to the guy that he was trying to mark up on, and Ring makes quick work of it to, like you said, cancel out the momentum of that big Frood Sky.
That was Hunter Taylor in the vicinity there of Eric Taylor, former Ring player. One of the many athletes on this Doublewide team, and Jay Frood, perhaps the biggest name among them. 3 straight years he's been selected to the all-club team. And his origin story for beginning competitive ultimate is amusing. I believe somebody at Missouri, where he had came up playing college ball, had basically duped him into coming to practice. They told him they were just be hanging out, and then all of a sudden it was Missouri Ultimate Team practice. And I think for Missouri and Doublewide, everybody should be pretty glad that someone willing to pull the wool over the eyes of Frood.
Yeah, Jay Frood, a big swimmer in college, but made the transition to Ultimate a little late. Still played out his career with Mizzou Mutants. Several of his college teammates are actually in attendance at Nationals today.
And yet another of the lesser-known schools that populate this Doublewide roster. Up against the UNCs and the Carltons, the now Blue Bloods of the college division. Ring back in that junk look. I mean, they need to get turnovers, so these rather conservative defensive looks are a surprising choice from my perspective. But maybe they're conceding that we're just having so much trouble stopping Doublewide in isolation downfield.
Yeah, it could have been.
What could have been for Ring goes by the wayside. Another hold for Doublewide.
To finish the thought, if you're making the calls on Ring D, maybe you saw something in your execution that you didn't like and wanted to give it another try, having made your adjustment. I think they did put some pressure there on the trap a little more than they have in past junk set points. So not crazy to try. I don't think Ring has really found a formula yet to put pressure on, so still searching.
Well, they better be on the sideline in earnest right now trying to find the answer, because time is ticking down as Doublewide breaks into the double digits with a 10-7 lead. And we may be starting off our Club Nationals adventure with an upset in Pool D. Just the beginning of what should be a really great few days of Ultimate here in San Diego. You can follow along at ultiworld.com/live for all your live coverage here. We've got a team of 20+ folks trying to bring you the best coverage we can in partnership with USA Ultimate and all of our sponsors.
Yeah, in addition to this stream field, there's also tape delay going on behind us.
You can access that by being an Ultiworld subscriber, and that helps support all the work we do. Couldn't send a big full team out here. I mean, we basically have a legal roster to play. Couldn't send a group that size and this experience out here without your support. You can check out the details at ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Oh, that looked for a second like it was going to be a Dominator set again, but one up line cut and an Alan Laviolette cut later. It's a 2-throw goal for Ring.
And another visit to the end zone for Alan Laviolette. He is setting up shop in the end zone for Ring. Ring getting a little bit of the self-boo in, a signature move, and maybe that'll be enough to ignite them in the second half as they make it 10-8.
Yeah, that's the first self-boo I've heard today. So really finding their stride.
Laviolette able to track that in just before that back line. And just an uncontested backhand from Williams is a recipe for disaster if you're the Doublewide defense. So Laviolette, I believe that's his 4th goal of this one. He's also had an assist. So strong effort for the Western Washington alum. Long way from his origins. I believe actually that Laviolette as a youth was a competitive martial artist. Very high level, in fact. Right now, delivering some strong blows to the double-wide defense for Raleigh. However, it'll be the defense's job to try and get them back into this. Hey, scoreboard should say 10-8. Pull going up from Cretella. Ferruda gets a nice pull coverage from Honors Young's Bobby Lay, who may be getting his first point. I don't know that I've seen him out there much.
Yeah, Bobby Lay joined the team a little late, traditionally a Florida player, but he and Freystad are big imports for Ring this season.
Vinay Valsaraj underneath, resets over to Moore. Stoppage downfield.
Yeah, that was one of the first points, Keith, that we've seen Ring deny Doublewide's first pass, and it put them into a tougher position. So great pull coverage and good downfield defense to shut down the initiation. And Ring has Ferruda out of the backfield now. I think they would do well to continue to push him out.
Ferruda might be in the top 4 on this team in touches right now, and I think he's not a player who people think about, but he's been increasing in influence for this double-wide team, but not out of his comfort zone downfield right now. Although he's taking off deep, maybe trying to prove me wrong. Ferruda and Moore in the backfield look him off. Deep cut's coming from the back of the stack right now for Texas Club. And that's forcing that front of the stack to do most of the yardage work.
I believe Ring appear to be playing a little more FM, or at least flat on that far sideline, but doing it pretty quietly, which is not what you usually expect, so good sign of team practice there. Makes sense against the double-wide vert stack.
Yeah, it definitely looks like FM, a sharp eye from analyst Cody Mills. And this is the kind of look you'll see against the force middle, that cross-field throw. And Frood with a great continue to Moore past the bidding Cretella. Moore looks at the disc as he drops it on the ground with an 11-8 lead for double-wide.
Yeah, and double-wide equal to it. Just as you said, Keith, those cross-field throws are going to be more prevalent in FM, and they really stretch the defense to work on containing it. There, that throw switches the field all the way across and leaves a big IO, a flat IO window where double-wide hits Frood, and they continue for the score. Still a tight continuation throw with the timing, but technically all flat and uncontested throws. So well done by double-wide to exploit what the defense is forcing them into.
A secondary assist for Coffin, who throws the break throw that sets up the continue for Frood. Now Frood with a nice throw of his own on the assist, but show a little love for the pass before the pass. So double-wide gets to send the defense back out. They've been able to fight off Ring of Fire at every turn.
Impressive thing about double-wide's performance, scoreboard notwithstanding, they're doing this without Chase Cunningham or Noah Chambers, two of their big players from past years. Chase Cunningham is coaching this year, and Noah Chambers broke his foot at college regionals, but was a regular on the D-line for them in years past.
Coach Chase. Life comes at you fast. It felt like he was a babyface rookie a couple years ago.
Well, he's also a captain, so.
Yeah. Talented player who they are without has not stopped them from asserting themselves against Ring of Fire. And much of the talk was about what 5-seed Revolver could potentially do in this pool. These two teams with Revolver and Rhino Slam out of Portland. Taylor taking a shot for Fisher. It's hanging, but Fisher can't fight off the defender. Knocked away. Nice block by Dan Emmons. And another huck gone awry for Ring of Fire.
Dan Emmons a little unheralded, but a huge presence in the deep space for this double-wide team for years.
Mathis underneath, out of that vertical stack. Up ahead to Elliott Moore, one of the new faces on this team, along with Kayvon Waugh and Hunter Taylor. So Taylor, a longtime ring player, puts a hammer ambitiously towards Zudrowski, and it's knocked away by Taylor. And I think he caught a little bit of the man they call Crow on that block. Yet another player on this double-wide team from a not prestigious Ultimate program.
They made
Zudrowski out of
nationals.
Utah. They did.
Utah
They
made
made nationals with him, no less.
Yeah. An unexpected 2016 qualifier from a 3-bid Northwest region, I think.
We've all been waiting for that Utah scene to pop and become a perennial nationals scene.
Oh, it's popping.
So much youth talent down there.
Slowcore played BYU twice this year. It's definitely, it's arrived.
Oh yeah, they're the real deal. Williams, pocket pass up the line. Looking to a reset, and no one in the backfield's moving. So Lanier comes in to act as the release valve. Now Taylor's upfield. Fisher streaking to clear some room for Williams. And a defender slips. Emmons not going to be able to get a second block as Fisher gets that at the back cone, or the backside cone, excuse me.
Yeah, I've been impressive use of lateral space from Ring again on that point. Obviously, that's more of a static break from Williams as Fisher finishes it off with an emphatic spike, but again, a good use of lateral space by Ring.
Henry Fisher, a name of just increasing notability for this Ring of Fire team. Led him in goals this year. Was a big part of the U24 men's team in this past cycle. And 23-year-old, 6'6", with great speed. Came up in the North Carolina system before traveling out to Carleton. Apply his trade, and like many of the Carleton guys, has returned home to continue to compete with this club team. And honestly, I think that's one of the things that Ring of Fire has done that so many other teams haven't been able to do, is these notable players who come up in the high school systems there, their youth systems, even if they leave for college, are coming back to play club there. And a lot of teams have not been able to keep the talent around once they leave to go play in competitive other competitive environments. And Ring has benefited a lot from that Carleton contingent returning back from the Minnesota Plains to compete.
Yeah, I think
Raleigh.
you have to think of Minnesota as the biggest victim of that.
Yeah, I'm sure Sub-Zero wouldn't mind to have Henry Fisher and his Carleton teammates on the squad. Or even perhaps Dragon Thrust?
Yep.
Imagine. Right now, Ring's defense matching a couple breaks because they're going to need them.
Ring sticking with that FM. Getting a little late in the field for it, but we'll see. But that's the look you want to force. You want to force that timing shot where it's a little bit off. Great call on the defensive side to disrupt the double-wide vert timing.
I believe that's just the second O-line turnover of the game for double-wide. Ferruda with the forehand to space, but nobody's home. So Saul Yannick walks it to the front of the end zone, hoping to get that break that Ring of Fire's been seeking. McAllister underneath, break side, backhand huck, lots of separation. Brought in by Andrew McKelvey and then dropped. A tough break for Ring of Fire. They get their opportunity.
That upper right-hand corner of the screen, another brutal drop down there.
Maybe it's the sun. Maybe it's the angle of the sun down there, a little lens flare. So
We're under a tent, so I can't confirm or deny. But
second chance for Doublewide's offense. Henke back into the middle for Furuta. Furuta wide for Wilder. Things slow down a bit downfield, so Wilder off for the timeout. This timeout is presented by Disc Store. You can head over to discstore.com. Get your team reversibles with a one-color print for just $15 each. You can use the promo code Ultiworld to take Ultiworld19, to take advantage of that offer. It's a limited time offer, so don't delay. One-color print reversibles for just $15 each with the promo code Ultiworld19. Thanks to discstore.com. So Abe Coffin and this double-wide offense trying to score. Let's hear a little bit from Coffin himself.
Our approach this weekend with how limited our roster's been through each tournament is to pretty much have everybody gel this weekend. We've had everybody pretty much miss at least one thing over the course of the year, and I think after regionals we had a full attendance at our last mini camp, and it's where we all saw pretty much our potential, and I think we can bring that in this weekend and kind of make some noise. I think this team has a lot of the same players that are like me, that went to small college schools but didn't get a lot of exposure. But we're pretty much all-stars on those college teams, and then all coming to this one team, I think allows everybody to play more of a defined role and work off each other instead of having to everybody have to do the whole thing for one team. I think Kai is one of the better defenders that will be taking some of our taller matchups that we have in pool play this weekend. And then Kaplan's going to be a solid handler for our O-line that we need, and is going to be able to get open for resets and manage the offense up and down the field. Raleigh definitely likes to mix it up defensively, and they like to throw almost everything at you throughout a game. They'll start at force middle at half, and then at half they'll change it to maybe a zone and just straight force look. So I kind of like that style, and being able to not really know, but also it allows us to play a little bit more loose and not really define what our offense is going to be throughout the game.
And perhaps Abe Coffin distracted by his own interview as he turns it over. Blocked by, I believe, a poach there from Kuchahanis. So Ring of Fire now with the disc, haven't taken a timeout, but heard Coffin talking about some of the things we've discussed about this team and that number of players coming from these small colleges, able to compete here against these elite program players. Yannick among them, out of the timeout, resetting. Childhood pal, Kuchahanis.
And in case you were distracted by Abe Coffin's interview, Ring got the disc here off a great help post block from the middle of the vert stack by Matt Kuchahanis, cutting off a J. Fruit under with a layout block.
Hey, Kim, drop back.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. Motion. I want
let's get loud.
UFC.
And Ring fouling themselves, I believe there. Laviolette with the reset back to Kuchahanis, another call downfield. So a little stop and go late in this one. Well, Ring of Fire with a chance to bring this back within one. So a critical point in this game. downfield, just watching, waiting for the handlers to get things moving. Yannick with the big fake sends his defender to ground. Short gainer for Laviolette. Kuchanis hits the ground for the second or third time on this point, and into the red zone Raleigh goes. And chemistry developed over years and years on display as Kuchanis and Saul Yannick deliver for Ring and make it a one-goal game.
Yeah, just absolutely clinical from high school teammates Matt Kuchanis and Saul Yannick, really showing off their ability to throw short, touchy breaks with both hands and their ability to work in small spaces, as well as, like we said, their chemistry with each other and understanding where people are going to be. Laviolette, a great compliment to that, already has shown in this game his ability to read the field and fill in the space, but really Yannick and Kuchanis just driving the bus there.
And like any good friends, Kuchanis throws the offhand backhand, and Yannick says, ooh, I have to too. It's like they're still, those little kids, I think there's a picture of them and like coming off a water slide or something together when they're 6 years old or whatnot. We actually did an article about their relationship as they came up for youngins in the North Carolina area, ended up competing against one another frequently in college and still get to reunite on Ring of Fire. Double wides. Defense now out on O. Hernandez, Smith, Kai Marshall, Griffin Miller among that line. So the offense gets a break after getting broken.
We see Jack Williams crossing over for this Ring D point.
Oh.
And Ring really finding their stride on the self-boo this half. Strong correlation with their performance.
So an offside pull will send us back for the do-over. Cortella out there with Williams. Taylor also has played a little bit of both ways. They're joined by Lay, Freystadter, Justin Allen, Tim McAllister.
Relatively quiet game thus far from Eric Taylor. We saw him put up that huck to Henry Fisher that Ring couldn't quite come down with. But Eric Taylor is one of the top players in this Ring team. We'll see if he can turn on the Jets for the end of the second half.
Just one assist for Taylor. Maybe if they can get the disc back from Doublewide, then could show off what he can do on offense. As he comes in on the mark. Hernandez with the wide swing, milks it for some extra width. Lewis underneath. Hernandez tracks that one down. And a call from McAllister. I think it was an offensive foul.
Travel coming in on
saying two. Travel, excuse me. A lot of slipping so far in this one. Smith. Doublewide able to go all the way across the field. Yeah. Armor up ahead, but then the turnover in the reset area. Lay picks it up, loops one for the big man Freystadter, and he calls a foul, trying to come down with this one against Lewis.
Yeah, another fun matchup there. Ben, eBay, Lewis, and Misha Freystadter, two of the better deeps in college ultimate, circa 2012 to 2015.
Okay.
So discussion over the call. I think it was an
an
uncontested foul.
Okay. So you're going to tap it, walk the line, and get it going. Okay. So you take it. That's where you're fouled. Tap it, walk the line, then tap again.
So 2 of the Florida imports from Ring of Fire connecting for a near assist. Now Lay on stage for Freystadter. Gets the reset and is backhand to the break side too casual. Sails on him and intercepted by Chris Larberg. Great opportunity for Ring. And we've seen them miss on a couple of those. You had the McKelvey drop and now Lay with the throwaway on the goal line. Lewis underneath and a tremendous second effort catch by Lewis.
Foul, but a catch play on. Okay, broken shoe.
Adds in the 12th edition.
Yeah.
Okay, 12 is coming in here. And 22 is coming over there. Look up, please.
So Andrew Walsh subbing in for Lewis. A little bit surprising to me to not see one of the big O-line names come in there.
Andrew Walsh, one of the most underrated people in the division, but yeah, you're right, more as a defender. I agree.
And another contested catch by Doublewide. They've been playing with fire around the end zone. You can see this Ring of Fire D-line's ready to get a block.
Yeah, Ring defenders are playing really well in this FM set, staying between their guy and the disc and trying to cut off those routes.
So I thought I came through. I thought my hand was in front of his cleanly. Got the disc, and then he tried to catch it. See, I disagree partly. I think coming from a dangerous spot, and I thought I had both hands on it by the time that he hit it.
All right, gentlemen, are you playing as a test or are you sending it to us? All right, so observer ruling, that is a foul. Yeah. All right, also, so it's going to yell.
All right. Did that hurt you at all? Yeah. I mean, I have a bump shoulder, so it was more the ground.
So PMF on 51. We have to write this down.
So McAllister drawing the PMF there, a yellow card, not the common TMF for his blind shoulder bid that eventually was upheld as a foul. McAllister has already gotten one block like that cleanly this point, staying heads up and kind of helping from behind the play. But in that instance, the observers ruled it was too dangerous and not just a foul, but an additional personal penalty.
We're all good.
Right.
A false start to restart play.
And for anyone watching at home, if he gets another yellow like that, he's ejected for that game.
So McAllister has to play with a little more caution right when his team is dialing up the aggression. Hernandez cuts off the swing to his teammate, but gets it for himself to reset the count and then hits Smith. The downfield really has not been able to get a lot going for Doublewide on this possession. Handler's having to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Pick called, but not involved in the reception. Smith points deep, asking for the outcut. It's just all dumps and swings here for Doublewide, and eventually they relent. Turf throw by Larberg, looking a bit fatigued.
Yeah, lots of pressure from Ring on every pass, and eventually Doublewide concedes.
Freystadter with the low forehand, dug out by Taylor. All the way around to the break side for Allen, and the easy continue, but he makes it a little more difficult. But again, that fatigue from Doublewide, they're not able to give chase. And despite Ring of Fire nearly making the same mistake twice, they do come down with the goal. This time Joey Cortella, and another second half break for Ring of Fire draws us back to even at 11-11.
Yeah, and Ring continues to ride that lateral motion, just exploiting these tired defenders, staying patient, opening up those windows, and eventually punishing it. Though they've kind of gotten themselves in trouble by popping up that last around pass, and they did it again, but McKelvey or Cortella able to run down the break. Got a game in our hands here, Keith.
Absolutely. Tough point for Larberg. He does get the block, gets the goal line block, so give him his plaudits, but turnover and then gets scored on. Tough spot to be in.
A little surprised not to see Doublewide call a timeout here. Try and regroup, take some momentum away from Ring. But
well, I think with none of their O-line personnel on that point, getting to send out a fresh 7 maybe negates your need for a timeout. They've had a chance to figure things out. And they're probably the group you're going to ride if you're going to get to a win here. So with the clock running down, 11-11, even matchup here. Doublewide still with the narrow advantage as Walker Matthews gets ready to pull for Ring of Fire. That one will head out of bounds. Fruda bringing it to the brick. Side stack, or split stack, excuse me.
yeah, Doublewide's run this with that classic initiation play. Henke and I believe that's Wilder. They both come in, back stack goes under. Looks like the same, but Ring of Fire sniffed it out and had some help to stop it.
So no play to get things started for Doublewide. They'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Advance pass midfield with the gainer up to Coffin. Henke points cross field. Coffin with a very nice reset cut, but Frood knocked down in the lane. Stoppage in play.
You cut staying in? Stay.
Frood looking a little ginger after going down. We'll see if that plays a factor as we're in the late stages of this one.
That Ring dropping their initial defense, transitioning to backhand. You can hear that, well, I think Lanier might have missed it, but
well, right now they're forcing this Doublewide offense backwards. Lay in search of a block with the layout, but Moore comes down with it. And the cutters look a bit out of sorts for Doublewide. They don't quite look sure where they should be going right now. Moore lifts his scuba to the opposite sideline for Coffin. Fruda. Doublewide's been playing in this same sliver of field horizontally for 20 passes. But they do still have possession as Frood gets the reset.
Doublewide stagnation kind of becoming their undoing here as they are unable to make plays. Unable to routinely make plays downfield, but still able to make them with some degree of frequency, as you see right there.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to say who made the play there, it was the thrower, Jay Frood, dropping that between a pair of Ring defenders to close out what was a great goal line stand by Ring of Fire, but Doublewide's offense still able to withstand the pressure.
Yeah, beautifully put throw by Frood. Wilder earned a step of space, and Frood put out the trust pass, executed it beautifully, so there was really no trust required, but any margin there, you need the receiver to make it up with a big play. Maybe we'll get another look at it here. Yeah, a nice away shot from Frood. Wilder stays conscious of the sideline to stay in bounds, even in the face of help from LaViolette.
So, we've entered the soft cap now. It's a game to 14. As our countdown clock heads towards hard cap. Doublewide maintaining their lead.
But Ring has certainly found its stride on defense. Eventually, you could see that they were searching out what would work best, and Mike Denaris and David Allison have settled on FM to take Doublewide out of their open side flow, which has been awesome, but forcing them into their second look. And Doublewide has shown hesitation when looking at those crossfield passes, both among the handlers and especially chaos downfield in terms of continuing off those long field passes or long wide passes.
It took Ring a couple of reps too of that FM to really start to dial in the pressure, but now they've done so. Another dominator set from Ring and a strip. So Williams gets possession.
You can see Jake Reinhardt, number 5 here, trying to help out of the stack a little, or help off Liam Searles' bows on the far side. So Doublewide starting to roll the dice a little bit with helping off of dead players, but Ring is falling into their regular end zone set now.
Williams around for Saul. Still really operating out of that front of the stack triangle, however. Laviolette finds a little room. Williams with a shimmy and an inside forehand for Laviolette for the score. Continues to add to his tally and the Ring of Fire tally as they tie it back up at 12s.
Yeah, unconventional dump positioning from Jack Williams in the context of Ring of Fire setting up even. They love to set up behind the disc and run the give and go off that FM sideline, but sets up even, challenges the up line, and Laviolette confidently delivers that flick.
Nice.
Clean work from Ring.
Yeah, we can't quite see the move from Williams. Sense that Taylor, was really pressed up on him on defense. And so Williams knew that all he had to do was give him one hard fake to get him to commit, and that would create the small window you need in the red zone to get the goal. Looks like Williams.
Is this game
Make it. Got a score update for you from here at the Surf Cup Sports Complex. In the mixed division, in Pool A, number 1 overall seed Dragon Thrust tied with number 12 seed Public Enemy. Surprise qualifier with the regionals run, and they are tied at 13-13. Can follow along with everything going on here at ultiworld.com/live. Watch the live stream, get the Twitter feed, get all the good stuff at once. So again, we see the split stack look from Doublewide. It opens up Frood underneath.
Yeah, changed up the initiation a little bit there by clearing the 2 strong side cutters and filling from the back.
Seems like both teams have found the looks they like. Another FM from Raleigh.
Yeah, Gucho Hannes on the first reset is doing a really good job of shrinking that upfield lane without giving away a free reset, and now helping off the second guy.
Coffin rifling a backhand for Frood. No chance for the defense there. I bet we'll be seeing that one on a highlight reel in a couple weeks.
Yeah, absolute dime ball. Hopefully we can get another look here.
When you got a thrower like that, an athlete like that on the other end of it, it's tough to stop.
Yeah, with Jay Frood, you don't really have to throw it well, but why not show off and throw a dime?
Jay Frood can turn a penny into a dime out here.
Exactly.
Coffin making it easy for him.
Abe Coffin steps out, puts that slightly IO backhand to space, a little bit of front edge to make it sit. Just great execution on the mark, trying to seal and stop the immediate around. Throwing that so early in the count when the mark is committed to sealing is what gave him the extra room on the mark to really put that throw out there, but beautiful execution.
I'm a huge proponent of making the hardest throws within the first 2 seconds of the stall count. Get the defense while they're still trying to set up, while they're committed to other roles, while your mark's not really prepared. That's the time to attack. Coffin with a excellent attack to Frood to make it 13-12. So 1 goal away for Doublewide. Ring of Fire gonna need to respond. They got their feet to the fire here. Pull goes up. Long fields it up ahead to Saul. Almost a split stack look from Ring.
That was the same one. They just missed their play.
Laviolette targeting Lanier in the deep space, and it hangs. But Lanier with the superior read. Lewis goes up early, and Lanier stays on the ground for the catch. So a quick hold for Ring of Fire.
Textbook body from Lanier, using his hips to kind of push Lewis under the disc, putting him in a position where he would have to go up early to even have a shot, and then Lanier can run onto it for a clap catch. I think there's a degree of misreading in here that comes to his aid, and obviously Lewis is coming from an unfavorable position, but you can see Lanier push him a little bit to the right, seal off that space, and then after he goes up early, he just runs onto it for the clap.
Lewis though, probably with no shot at that, going up at that time, but that'll take us to double game points. So a big opportunity for these two teams. Really such a huge advantage to be out in front early at this tournament. Try and get a shot at winning the pool and getting that vaunted bye. Doublewide has held the advantage most of this game. Can they close out and get the upset over Ring of Fire, the top-seeded team in Pool D? Ring's defense is fired up in this second half. Now they're out there in need of a break. Williams, the lone O-line crossover for Ring of Fire. He's out there with Yannick, Kritella, Von Alden, Freystadter, McAllister, Gucho Hannes. The offense for Doublewide, Marshall, Wilder, Connor Olson.
You got to be a little surprised.
Henke, Frood, and Coffin.
You have to be a little surprised not to see Alan Laviolette on the line for double game point, given how he's been used.
They'll have to do it without Alan Laviolette. They find Wilder on the open side. Doublewide looking content to play patiently as Henke with a nice dancing move in the open side lane. Olsen nearly misses the pop out, and now an uncontested deep throw for Wilder. Coffin drops it in. Doublewide draws first blood here at Nationals with the upset over Ring of Fire.
That beautiful throw from Coffin really over-rotates that OI edge to throw Jack Williams out of the play. Jack Williams gave some horizontal separation and some vertical, but with that OI edge, it moves horizontally, it drops fast. Really no chance from the defender with a beautiful throw like that.
A hold that matched much of the offensive play from Doublewide throughout this game. Their O-line was tremendous. Ring of Fire able to make a comeback with some late defensive pressure, but Doublewide O-line was simply too good in this game. They lead Austin to the 14-13 round one upset here in Pool D.
Yeah, looks like the gelling has begun early for Doublewide. Still, it's Pool D, so it's anyone's game. A lot of evenly matched teams, and it'll be exciting to see how it all turns out. Ring of Fire obviously has another gear in them that they'll be looking to hit, and Doublewide will look to continue the success as they go forward.
An exciting start here to the club championships in San Diego. Doublewide with the big upset over Ring, and that's just round one. We got 3 more tremendous games coming up on today's schedule. Coming up next, we have mixed division game between Slow White and Shame. And we have Condors and Fury Shores in the men's division. And we finish up with a women's division matchup between 2 of the top teams in the division, Seattle Riot and Washington, D.C. Sandal. Should be a great slate of games. And maybe we'll get some more thrillers like this. This is exactly how we want to start the weekend. We're actually going to jump you over to some bonus coverage we have the final game the final point, between Dragon Thrust and Public Enemy. They are at double game point. So you can see
we're being patched in from like on the field phone video, by the way. So apologies for the shaky frame, but
and it looks like Dragon Thrust just scored with the break. Dragon Thrust survives, nearly see a 1 seed upset in the mixed division, but Minneapolis Dragon Thrust with the win over Public Enemy.
Nonetheless, a great showing from Public Enemy.
What action we've got coming to you from San Diego. You're not going to want to miss out on the rest of what we've got for you today. Is we've got great plays, we've got upsets. I mean, this has been a dramatic start to Nationals. I'm looking forward to what else we got, Cody.
Yeah, just the beginning of an incredible weekend. Everybody's a contender on Thursday. Can't wait to watch it going forward.
More coming to you from Ultiworld. We'll see you for the next one.
We come in all different shapes and sizes, but our uniforms don't. Equipped with multiple jersey cuts, lengths, and sizes, Full Circle is the perfect fit for your whole team. Look better, feel better, play better. Full Circle.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis.
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
Documentary shorts.
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
And a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.